So back in Season 1, I made a Kevin Durant and Jokic hybrid build that, as you can see from these clips, is absolutely insane on offense. I'll provide a build update now that we know what we know about cap breakers, but even if you made my original build, I'm here to tell you that I dusted this build off after 4 months of playing around with different builds, and this build absolutely holds up. I know a lot of people didn't like the version of the build, but it did exactly what I said. It's a dynamic and offensively elite build that's supremely fun to play with, and if you know what you're doing, can be absolutely disrespectful. So back then, I didn't know if I was getting cap breakers, so I had a different version of this build. So if you're at starter 3 and I'm not even there yet, those 5 cap breakers will go to midi, and then add the 4 from seasonal cap breakers to post control. What you get is a two-way 3-level shot creator that takes advantage of what we know now about cap breakers in NBA 2K25. The post game will still be our dominant feature, but the challenge in random rec is randoms do not know how to play with post scorers. As you can see right here, for whatever reason, number 8 runs into my airspace to bring the help defense there. But since I'm good at being patient and recognizing coverages, it doesn't matter. But this is something you'll run into if you're a post scorer in 2K25, people just running all over your airspace. But this is a dynamic offensive force everywhere. As you can see right here, because you got legend post fade phenom, you can get all sorts of disrespectful shooting through tough contested shots such as this one. I wasn't able to generate space through my fade. Doesn't matter. Legend post fade phenom, Hall of Fame Deadeye due to max +1. This is easy work. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. And we're gonna use all our tools to make sure that we create the necessary space that is needed to make our lives easier in the post. And let me tell you, wings and power forwards do not know how to guard this. They're not frequently equipped to guard this. So what we do right here is use our gold post-up powerhouse. Give him a little bump, create that extra separation after this bump right here into a fadeaway after that post powerhouse. That bump animation will be a stun. Look at all the space that this creates with that KD fade. Easy 2 points. And I recommend you look at my post-up tutorial, both the basic and advanced, in order to understand how to maximize your different setups in the post. Here, I use my post drive by holding R2 and flicking the right stick to the left. Immediately cancel that by holding L2 and holding the right stick down right to hit this KD fade. And at that time, I was trashed for putting post control to 96, but what you're gonna see now with the 6'10 demigod dribbling builds is that they acknowledge that if you want to be a dynamic dribbler as a 6'10, you're gonna need that 96 post control, and I think I was proven right. So what you'll get here is that people will often double team you in these post situations. That's why 96 post control is something I recommend. In the build update version, I get to a 90 only, but that's just because I think that's what most people will be comfortable with. If that's the case, just +1, you're unpluckable to get to gold. But I've also gotten a lot of benefit by putting my +1 into something like Deadeye. And what you're seeing from these clips is just being patient, waiting for those steal animations to play themselves out. Wait for those people to keep on plucking away, and with gold unpluckable, the ball will be secure. And once the defense clears, if your teammates acknowledge that you need the space, just go into your post-up powerhouse, your post-up poet, your different post combos, and hit them with that legend post-fade phenom. That's going to create a lot of space, and it's an easy way to get a bucket, and a lot of people do not know how to defend it. And why I wanted a high post control is because I was one of the early people who understood how powerful badges like post-up poet is. And I made post spin counters as one of the core parts of the shot creation of this build. Get people moving on their feet, and then to combo that with my 96 layup, which I do have right now thanks to some cap breakers from the seasons, I'm able to create different types of counters. And as you can see right here, if you cancel that post spin, lead into a crossover out of the post spin cancel, as you can see right here, and then combo that with your different shot creation mechanics, your different step back jumpers. You will cook with so many ways to really beat the offense using an uncommon playstyle that not a lot of people are equipped to defend. And I'm telling you, man, I'm shooting through a lot of these dudes' contests like it's nobody's business. And I get jiggy with it by using my face-up game like very few in this game can. As you can see right here, I'm using my face-up, using my knowledge of strong handle, and using my knowledge of how the contest system works to read how the defenses reacts from here. I know that this is a strong handle situation where I will push up and to the right to force my defender to shuffle his feet, counter with a Jokic step back jumper to get an easy 2 points. Take a look at how ridiculous this is. This is a 7-foot power forward and that is an open shot. And take a look at this simple KG-like face-up jab step launch into a Jokic step back jumper. If only my teammates gave me the ball more, they'd be exposed to killer moves such as this because I'm literally unstoppable with this build if you just give me enough space. But one thing with this build and why I designed it the way I did back in season 1 is that I wanted to be a secondary playmaker out of the post, and I absolutely do that with this build so long as I got guys who know how to play off of me. But what makes this build a dynamic Kevin Durant / Jokic build is that the Jokic hop jumper combo series, which I will release in a separate video, will show you that this will open up not only your shot creation from all the space that these Jokic hop jumpers creates, but it will open up your dribble game like very few shot creation moves can. So at its base, as you can see right here, the Jokic hop jumper is very quick. It creates a lot of space and separation, and it is very easy to time. And with Hall of Fame Shifty Shooter, thanks to my Max Plus 1, and Hall of Fame Deadeye to my Tier 1 Hall of Fame Max Plus 1, I'm able to hit crazy shots with the 6'10 build. And the fact that you are 6'10 makes it even crazier because you are just shooting all over smaller dudes, giving them all sorts of disrespect, splashing in everyone's faces. Pause. Just take a look at how dynamic this shot creation off of these dribble cancels are. As you can see, crossover left, crossover right, launch into that step back Jokic jumper, and it is an easy 2 points. With Hall of Fame strong handle, Bronze Lightning Launch, which I know Bronze Lightning Launch is fine for a 6'10, you are able to create the easiest advantages for a 6'10 player. And once you get that smallest advantage, being able to counter with a Jokic hop jumper in either direction, and with that crossover Jokic snatch, Sombor shuffle, these are some of the deadliest moves for 6'10s in NBA 2K25 that once you figure out how to cancel out of in different situations will make you a dynamic scorer that cannot be stopped. But more importantly, this build covers the basics, and as a catch and shoot threat, this is absolutely elite even though we only get an 85 3 ball. So long as you're open, let it fly. As you can see, off of movement with bigger builds that do not have agility, show them that V cut out of your flare cuts, for example. This build can do it all off dribble, off of movement, and as you can see right here, the jump shot is so quick that these dudes cannot contest it so long as you have the shortest amount of space to take advantage of this lightning quick jumper that's got great defensive immunity and good timing stability. More importantly, the 96 layup is, in my opinion, overkill. If I would recommend one thing is that, gold physical finisher is actually fine for what 6'10 builds can do. So I also make that adjustment in my updated version of this build. But regardless, if you stuck with my first version of the KD build, and probably the only weakness of that build was that it had 70 speed, which you can use different takeovers to compensate for that, this build absolutely cooks. I dusted this off after 4 months of not using it. Still absolutely dominant. It's just a shame that most people do not know how to play around builds like this. But there you go.